He was the best-selling music artist in history. He had more money, more fame, and more fans than almost anyone alive. And yet, by nearly every account, including his own, Michael Jackson was one of the loneliest, most tormented people on the planet. This isn't a takedown, it's not a conspiracy video. It's a look at 25 documented reasons why being the king of pop might have been one of the worst jobs in the world. Let's get into it. Reason number 1. He never had a childhood. By age 6, he was rehearsing for hours a day and performing in nightclubs, while other kids were on playgrounds. Michael was on stage under adult expectations. Reason number 2. His father was allegedly abusive. Michael spoke publicly about being physically and emotionally abused by Joseph Jackson during rehearsals, describing beatings and being mocked for his appearance as a child. Reason number 3. He said he cried out of loneliness as a kid. In interviews, he described watching other children play from his window and feeling unable to join them. Reason number 4. He was mocked for his looks growing up. Family members reportedly teased him about acne and his nose during adolescence, which he later said deeply affected his self-image. Reason number 5. Fame took away his anonymity before he even understood what that meant. He became globally recognizable before he was a teenager. There was no normal version of life to go back to. Reason number 6. He developed vitiligo, a skin condition that causes patches of skin to lose pigment. This was medically confirmed by his autopsy. Yet for years, the public accused him of hating being black. Reason number 7. Every physical change was treated as public property. Tabloids tracked and mocked his changing appearance for over 2 decades, often without regard for the medical explanations. Reason number 8. He struggled with body image from a young age. Reports and biographies describe long-standing insecurity tied to comments made about his appearance as a child performer. Reason number 9. Chronic pain became part of his daily life. Yes, years of high-impact dancing reportedly left him with significant physical pain, which later intersected with his use of prescription medication. Reason number 10. He couldn't just have a bad skin day like anyone else. Any visible change was instantly global news, dissected frame by frame. Reason number 11. He couldn't go outside without a disguise. Former associates have described him wearing wigs, masks, or disguises just to walk through a store or visit a park. Reason number 12. He reportedly struggled with insomnia for years. Sleep disorders were widely reported as a long-term issue, eventually tied to the circumstances of his death in 2009. Reason number 13. His inner circle was constantly in flux. Managers, advisors, and confidants cycled in and out, with Michael later expressing distrust toward people close to him. Reason number 14. He was financially exploited at times. Multiple biographies and former associates have described contracts and business arrangements that worked against his long-term interests. Reason number 15. He carried enormous debt despite enormous earnings. By the 2000s, reports estimated his debts in the hundreds of millions despite owning one of the most valuable music catalogs in history. Reason number 16. He faced intense legal scrutiny throughout his adult life. He was investigated and tried multiple times. He was acquitted on all charges in his 2005 criminal trial. Reason number 17. The allegations followed him regardless of legal outcomes. Even after acquittal, the accusations shaped public perception of him for the rest of his life and beyond. Reason number 18. Neverland Ranch, meant to be his childhood do-over, became a symbol used against him. The very space he built to reclaim a childhood he never had became central to the accusations he faced. Reason number 19. He was raided and investigated by the media as much as by authorities. Paparazzi and tabloid coverage often blurred the line between reporting and harassment. Reason number 20. His mental health struggles played out in public. Friends, family, and biographers have described periods of depression and anxiety that Michael had almost no privacy to process. Reason number 21, he was preparing for a punishing comeback tour at 50. The This Is It concert series required rehearsal schedules that associates describe as grueling for someone his age and physical condition. Reason number 22, he reportedly felt immense financial pressure to perform. Despite decades of massive record sales, associates say he felt he had no choice but to keep working to manage his debts. Reason number 23, his trust in doctors ultimately failed him. Dr. Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the propofol that caused Jackson's death in June 2009. Reason number 24, he died at 50, still chasing a normal life he never got to have. By most accounts, one of his lifelong wishes was simply to walk through a park unnoticed. Reason number 25, even in death, his story is still picked apart, sold, and argued over. Documentaries, lawsuits over his estate, and endless tabloid retrospectives mean his life and death never fully became his own. Michael Jackson gave the world Thriller, Billie Jean, and a blueprint for what a global pop star could be. But behind the moonwalk was a man who, by his own words and the accounts of people closest to him, really felt free, safe, or normal. Fame gave him everything except the one thing he seemed to want most. If you found this video interesting, let me know in the comments which of these surprised you the most. Subscribe for more deep dives like this one.